Greetings and welcome to Star Trek Discovery Pod, a sometimes funny, trying to be smart podcast covering all things new and classic Trek. Sensors. I'm your captain, Mariah Gossett. With me on the view screen, we have
Clyde Haynes. Yeah, that's it.
That's it today for Clyde.
That's it.
And me. I'm Paul. There is no choice. We save the children to touch it.
Nice. Huzzah. Yes, tonight we are...
Wait, let me see if I get it right. There is no choice. We save the children.
Not bad. That was
not bad. Tonight we are talking about one of our planets is missing, as well as the Lorelei Signal from the animated series. But before we dive in, Paul, where can listeners find stuff to share the show, leave us reviews, do all that fun stuff?
Hey, I'm supposed to remind the listeners to subscribe to the podcast at Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. All links are at Star Trek pod.co. And if you want to join our Patreon, which we ask you to do, if you can afford it, because times are dark. phasers. It used to be here, now it's not here. Patreon to get access to our Slack community. There you go. Join our Patreon.
Yes, patreon.com/Star Trek Pod.
There you go.
Thank you so much. And if you're hanging out with us live on YouTube, you can interact in the chat. Tell us what you thought about these episodes. What are your favorite episodes coming up? All kinds of fun stuff. And how can they do that, Clyde?
very simple. Crawl into the throne room, find the secret button, open up the cache of technology, pull out your communicator, and then leave us a message. Now, type capital P, capital O, capital D, capital pod in the chat, and we will take a look at your musings, your thoughts, your questions, your comments, your revelations. Yeah, your revelations.
Your corrections. We usually get something wrong.
Yes. Do not be afraid to jump in and tell us about the obscure fact that only you know and that we don't. That's okay.
Indeed. All right. I guess we'll just jump on in. I realized last week, I think I forgot to play a video, but I guess since most of us are watching this all for the first time, we can actually call these Hot Freaks! Hot Freaks! Let's start with one of our planets is missing. Any hot freaks to share? Thoughts? I mean, I can share mine. My biggest one was I went, oh, wow, this is just all of season 4 of Discovery, but in a singular episode.
My bad.
And that was my hot freak. I said, but without emotions and drama.
So there are these, and I don't know if you guys have seen these on your social media, like TikToks or Instagram, or whatever, but there are these and YouTube, there are these morality tales of oh, here's a rich billionaire and but in disguise, and these people are really mean to this person, only to find out that that he's a billionaire at the end and he's helping the people who are nice, or or these morality tales things. And the thing about them is that there is absolutely zero subtext. In fact, it's almost negative subtext. Mm-hmm. It's so on the nose, and they do really well. They do really, really, really well.
Are you saying this episode was zero subtext, Paul?
You're jumping ahead. But yes, in the delivery of all this stuff, there is no subtext. It's so and I go oh, I'm just watching this. It's just ahead of its time. It's so good.
It was made to be cut up into 20 different pieces and put on TikTok.
And the delivery,
honestly, Paul, it would be so funny if you just edited everything. If we gave you access to a Star Trek Pod TikTok, and it's just you posting the entirety of the animated series in tiny chunks.
I think it'd be great. I was watching this and so, oh my God, Mantilles is going to be swallowed up by this giant cloud. Even that, what I said there, has too much inflection. It's Captain, the planet will be devoured by the blah, blah, blah. Spock, What do we do? It's great.
You know what something that was interesting to me that I got stuck on, and that was because I was trying to figure out what was happening, because this idea of Spock doing this mind meld with this cloud.
Wait, you mean this?
Shoo, everyone do the Spock.
Yes, everyone do the Spock.
Hear me. Explain. Hear
And
me.
so-
Explain. Explain.
Well, first, I kind of was like,
Truth.
Truth.
so there were a number of things that was interesting about that, but one was, normally when we've seen someone mind meld or do anything like that, it's this like thing where it's going on between them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I'm watching and I'm like, so that was my expectation. So my expectation is Spock is sitting there and he's communicating with this
like
cloud.
Aquaman.
Right. And everybody else is just sitting there like waiting, like, and so it's like hearing one side of the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Then I realized there's a speaker and they're all hearing it. I'm like, how does that work? Like now
because Uhura hooked up the universal translator.
Like you
To his
understand
mind?
that this
Like,
cloud
sure.
is from outside our periodic table, which is outside our galaxy. So you don't know. I don't know. Explain.
Well, and then the other thing about it was it felt like it was a little condescending where he kept going, hear me. And I'm like, dude, like, can you calm down for a second and like speak like a little less harshly?
I don't know,
that
What
whole
did you want him to be
scene-
like? Hello?
just like I don't know. I thought it would be more conversational. Like,
Okay,
Yeah.
let me put this in perspective for you, Clyde. Imagine there is a single virus in your body and it's trying to talk to you, because that's the size of Spock compared to the cloud, right?
mhm.
Like a virus, and then like, are you going to say hello?
No,
Or
I
you
would
go,
imagine.
"Hear me!"
I would imagine that if there was a virus inside my body and it was
Trying to
talking
talk
to
to
me
you.
and it was trying to talk to me, it'd be like, hey, excuse me, can I get your attention for a second? Can we chat? Like, you don't know what's going on here. Like, it would talk to me and I'd be like, oh, okay. All right, that's weird.
I will say, to the writer's point of this episode, and similarly to season 4 of Disco, you have to start with very basics. I mean, we all
Yes.
watched Arrival, like you got to be like, I am a person. Like, what are you? like
Hear me.
hear me.
Hear me.
Because it's like they don't know what hello means.
Like, speaking. I'm speaking now.
Like
Hear me.
others, like, and
Yeah.
truth be told, like imagine like I had some pork tacos today, which were pretty good. I've had amazing pork tacos. So that's your food.
Were they past
I was
or?
gonna say
They were past.
we haven't made it yet.
Excellent. How was the pineapple to pork to cilantro to onion ratio?
It was fine. What I got was actually like a Mexican
Corn or flour
gazpacho.
tortilla?
Flour.
Okay.
No, flour. No, corn. It was corn. But I had a what I guess I assume it's a Mexican gazpacho, because it had pineapple and cucumber and tomato all finely chopped. And I used that as like, the extra
It's like a
pizzazz.
pico.
It's like
Yeah.
a ceviche,
little bit. It was quite good. Like, it was in Santa Barbara. B and I took a little day trip to Santa Barbara.
Cute.
Food Talks back. Yes,
I like
Choopy.
that.
I'm looking at you. I'm shouting you out.
Start the drinking game.
That's right.
We have yet to
Anyway,
make it through an episode.
But if there was a pig that goes, hear me, and I'm going to pay attention. Like, and truth be told, if a pig were to go like, hello, I mean, I also would pay attention, but I might not pay as much attention. And
Gotcha.
it might so I think
Your brain would be like, oh, it's just like my brain thinking it's oink sounds like hello. And like people
Exactly.
think their cats they're saying hello or whatever.
Now, if the pig goes to me, don't eat me, I'm a person, I may not eat the pig, but I don't know.
You might.
Because
Paul.
I don't know.
Well, maybe not that specific pig.
Exactly. So if the cloud go like, like the cloud go like, okay, I won't eat this round marble, but like for Spock to go, get out of my galaxy.
Go home.
I love that.
It
Anyway.
was yeah.
No, I mean, I'm telling you, watch. At some point, we're going to come up with a Star Trek Discovery Pod recipe book. It's going to be great.
I have a Star Trek recipe book.
No, I mean a Star Trek pod though.
Oh, us.
It'll be
We'll.
it's be our recipe book of all
it'll
of
be
the
like
stuff that we
plain
talk
hot
about.
dogs. Oh my god, that'd be so good. Like we should have a plain hot dog party on the Patreon. We'll do a plain hot dog party. And we'll watch that
gay
episode.
old water. No.
Okay, the next time I'm in Los Angeles, we should do like a Patreon meetup for anyone else who's in the LA area, and we can go get hot dogs. Because there's
hot dogs.
There's that hot dog spot in like West Hollywood that there's like a speakeasy tiki bar, I think, like above it.
Yeah, we'll do that.
We'll do that.
I'm down.
I love it.
It can't be plain though. I need some relish and some ketchup. And
like
some
what you can do is have it on the side and not eat it, just like the episode.
It's made.
I mean, Spotted Giraffe's not far from us, right? Like,
and then you go, and then you go ask for, and then you go get another one, another plain hot dog.
I was watching something else that tapes in Canada. Was it Ghosts? Maybe there was another show where I watched an actor eat a plain hot dog, and I was like, "Is this a thing about shooting television in Canada?" They're just like
no
toppings
are illegal. I heard that. If there are any Canadians listening to us, let us know.
Let us know. Is this a SAG union rule?
That's right.
Like no
listen,
on hot dogs.
Listen, I just want to say, if you are not really into condiments, that's not your thing. It's okay, but that means the hot dog needs to be amazing, right? Like you need to get it from a really
those Toronto
good
hot
place.
dogs must be really amazing.
I don't know.
You know,
I mean,
like
no, the one
dog.
that Kirk ate on the side of the street was not an amazing hot dog. Like that looked.
I don't know.
No,
it's a future hot dog. They were in our future. So maybe like it is a better hot dog. I'm gonna give. I
need something that's closer to.
Know what you're talking about.
I need something close to sausage, though. Okay, but anyway, we are way
off.
Food.
I was going to mention. So this particular episode is written by Mark Daniels. He's kind of like a very Star Trek / just like television writer, like mega writer. Like worked on I Love Lucy, directed episodes of Where's Raymond, Gunsmoke, Mission Impossible, Fame, Alice, Hogan's Heroes, and the Andros Targets. And then he wrote 15 episodes of the original Star Trek series, including Mirror Mirror and Space Seed. And wrote
Wrath the Khan prequel. Love it.
Yeah. And he worked again with Lucille Ball on on Life with Lucy. And then he also directed the Changeling episode. He won an Emmy, a Directors Guild Awards, Hugo Awards, and he won a joint award with Gene Roddenberry for Best Dramatic Presentation for The Menagerie.
Let's do some like forensics here. So Lucille Ball, with Desi Arnaz, green light Star Trek. So he's so this guy wrote on
the original series,
I Love Lucy, and then he got moved over to Star Trek, and then got moved over to the animated series. That's a pretty cool little
trajectory,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just thought it was really interesting. I think part of what's been, because, these episodes are they're made for children. They're Saturday morning cartoons. They're a little bit slower. So I've been just kind of deep diving on the folks involved in the making of these episodes. And it's such a fun history sort of Wikipedia hole to go down. And so that's been something I've been enjoying.
No, I like that. Oh, I guess we should summarize the plot of this episode for those who don't know.
So essentially, it is season 4 of Discovery. There's a giant, massive cloud thing that is absorbing and eating planets. This one happens to eat the Enterprise. And so as their magic school bus going their way through the digestion system, they realize that it's
nice reference. Yes. Mm-hmm.
They're on a projection to the cloud thing is essentially going to come into contact with a world where, millions of people will perish. And as Paul said, they will save
the children,
but not they'll save the children.
Well, they can only save 5,000 children,
which seems like a low amount of children for that many
for
people.
Millions of people.
Billion people.
Well,
how are you categorizing children? It's you're 13, so you don't count anymore. What are we talking about here?
I mean, like we can go Hunger Games with this if you guys want, but like this is not the Hunger Games, Star Trek Hunger Games podcast.
I've never seen the Hunger Games
What?
or read them.
Oh,
the books are definitely worth a read. I enjoyed reading them. I enjoyed reading the books.
I think it hit just a little bit later, like in when it was published, so it didn't hit when I was like deep into my like reading of dystopian children books.
Well,
but yeah.
I mean, a buddy of mine was like, "You got to read this," and I had nothing else better to do, and I read, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty dope." So.
Not to be the side, like I actually like the movies better than the books. I feel like when I read the books, I go, Katniss is dumb because it's written first person, and you can hear everything this 14-year-old's thinking, and 14-year-olds in general are not that, their brains aren't fully baked yet. And like I just remember like you know, what's his name, the guy who is who played you know, like
I didn't watch or read, so I
she
can't help
wouldn't
you
have any idea. Yeah, you're
anyway. Like it goes like, oh, he's saying that he's a resistance member, and you think he's just screwing with you. How dumb are you? And go, oh, you're 14 years old, dumb, or whatever age he is, dumb.
Isn't Boimler in the Hunger Games?
Oh, I saw Novocaine.
Oh, how was it?
It was good enough plus.
Everyone that I've talked to has gone in with really low expectations and has been
delightfully
pleasantly surprised. Yeah.
I heard Companion was really good. It seems to be like a spring of Jack Quaid in horror movies.
Yeah, no, Jack Quaid doing well from
Companion looks a little dark for me. I was like, I'm out.
Yeah, B saw it. She saw it was pretty good. She said it was fun. That's the words she said.
Okay.
And she said Clyde probably wouldn't like it.
Probably not. So
back to this plot.
Yes, Mariah. So as you're reading off the credits, I'm torn because if I'm being completely honest, this wasn't like, oh man, this was a great 24 minutes of television. Like I really enjoyed this. This was amazing. Now, if I had known that this person had wrote it, my expectations for this would have been much higher than they were. So am I an outcast here? Because everybody's like, man, this was fantastic, and I'm just on my own.
Oh no! Like, but may I, Mariah?
Go for it.
I think that we have gone through the valley and up to the other side of like so bad that is good.
That's where I was going to land. Was like, I think for a portion, I got real tempted to scroll my phone. Temptation Island, you know, like I can have this on and not really have to think, and I can still follow the plot kind of vibes, which honestly is sometimes the vibe, sometimes what I'm looking for, because my brain would love to shut off sometimes. But then it kind of came back around because I was like, this is so funny that it's at one point they're talking about, oh, we've made this map of like this creature, and it's like the most basic little like sketch, and at times they're like, we're pulling up the cellular, and it's just blobs on screen. You know, it's like, it's so funny, the dissonance between like, we're doing really intense science, and then especially then like some of the choices made for the animation, you know, because like other pieces, like when they're going through what I'm assuming is like the lungs look so cool. And like there's times when the ship looks really dope. And like, it's just funny to me how like uneven some of the animation is on the show. Like sometimes it's so ultra detailed and cool, and other days you're just like, who got charged with backgrounds today? You know, like choices.
And that also made me think of something like, you know, we talked about this a little last week, but one of the benefits of animation is that you can do things that would be either cost prohibitive or difficult to do in a live action. So this is if we talk about a big space eating, like a planet eating space cloud.
Yeah.
Could the original series pull that off, right? Like today it's easy because you got CGI and special effects and you could do it. But could the original series have pulled that off?
A cloud, probably. Like there would have been ways, but I think it wouldn't have been as like interesting in shape or maybe as dynamic in movement. You know, like it would have still have been like a celluloid in front of like the screen, like essentially.
there's a episode in the original series, I think the Lights of Zatar or something like that, and the cloud eats up this planet and like well, not eats it up, but like it envelops this planet and it makes everyone go crazy. It's actually Memory Alpha, so for those who care. And so yeah, so you could just easily make a planet. It could easily do it. It just wouldn't be looking as cool.
Wait, is that why Memory Alpha is called Memory Alpha?
There you go. You're getting it. It's all coming together. It's all coming together.
Wow.
It is. I believe in the episode it goes like, this is the greatest repository of information in the Federation. Like, you know, the loss is, you know, like incalculable. Blah blah blah. That's Spock saying, and you know, but it's a good episode. It's a Scotty episode.
Nice.
Because Scotty's like in love with
the more
someone.
You know.
Yeah, Scotty's in love with someone, and then she gets possessed by the lights, and it's pretty cool. And all Kirk keeps on saying is like when they're trying to kill the lights, pressure.
Classic.
It's so good, but that too goes through the valley and up.
Yeah. It's also going back to one of our planets is missing. So the colony, the guy who's like, I have my daughter, but we'll save the children, is Starfleet officer Bob Wesley, who's also in an original series episode, The Ultimate Computer. So they love having some cameos.
Is he the captain in the Ultimate Computer?
It just says he was featured. So yeah, he would have been an officer.
Well, Shuby mentioned that he is the guy who called Captain Kirk Captain Dunsel.
Yeah. So, quick recap. Like, you know, there's a computer that like is going to replace the captains in AI, and like, you know, and that guy goes and says like, Kirk, you're irrelevant. That's what Captain Dunsel is. And so, like, you know, which is a real dick way of saying it. Like, you know, it was completely unnecessary. And then the AI goes crazy and starts killing.
Do you think that's why Kirk was a little less like, I guess if this cloud eats this planet, it's at least the dude who is really mean to me?
I think that's not a bad idea because Mr. Dunsel there, like he was not nice. And then like he had 4 ships against the Enterprise with the computer, and the computer was going to slaughter 4 other Constellation class ships. It was pretty cool.
And he and Kirk's like, I'm willing to blow up my ship to save your planet now.
Kirk out computered the computer, and the computer just decided to give up.
Classic Kirk.
Just so you know, more for more as you know kind of stuff. The computer created by Daystrom of the Daystrom Institute.
See,
multitronic brain, pre-positronic. Oh my God!
We need a banner that says "The more you know." Like we need one of those.
It's a multitronic brain, pre-data.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Pre-data.
Yeah. This episode was just kind of it was okay to me. I didn't really enjoy it.
Okay, like objectively, it sucked. Okay, everyone. I think I had too much sugar today. I apologize. I had
Paul's on hype mode.
Like I have a brownie. I had like, you know, a chocolate chip cookie, and I had like a berry almond cake on my drive from Santa Barbara. So I might be a little
good time in Santa Barbara.
Treats galore.
Yeah, no, I think I might have type E diabetes now or something. So I apologize if you go, oh, that Paul, he looks like he's on cocaine with fentanyl. That's not the case.
It's just sugar. Let's move on to the Lorelei Signal, because this is actually
one of my
it's my favorite. It's my favorite episode. I forgot it was so early in the series, but it is one that I return to all the time. I think it's a great episode. I love that Uhura and Chapel get an actual episode. This was like a big time fave for me. What did y'all think of this episode?
So I'll say I wasn't like, I was looking for this episode, and I was trying to really get into like, what are we seeing here, and are there tropes? But what I walked away with was the fact that I've seen Discovery made the subtle like movements between Chapel and Spock so much more rewarding. Like it was like, oh my goodness, because when he when he reaches out with his mind, and I'm like, well, okay, you sit on the bridge every day with Uhura. Why wouldn't you reach out to Uhura? He reached out to Chapel.
They got a connection.
She's like, oh, Spock. I was like, well, okay. So it helped me understand where this.
When he pulls out the first name, Christine.
Yes, Christine. Like, I was like, okay. Like, I don't know that I'd ever really seen that connection that deep before. And so, we talked about last week how we were looking for this show to give us something kind of more as part of the canon. And then, here we are, episode 4, and it delivered.
Yeah. Like
right. I guess. Yeah, that was pretty interesting to me.
I thought, it really rang true to a lot of things for me in our past, in the 70s, like the women
the white hair space babes, they all look like those animated space babes that are in
exactly, and it was really weird to see it from today's context. Like, oh, they all look like
Barbies.
I was gonna say just like albinos had accidentally got trapped on an island and just inbred but apparently hot albinos. And they, but what was really interesting, and I had this when I was watching Wonder Woman, the movie, the first time, I had this really strong reaction when the Amazons were fighting the Nazis, where I was going like, oh wow, I don't think I've seen just women kick ass just cinematically ever, without being it just being oh, here is just people kicking ass and they're women. And I had a very similar reaction to this when I watched Uhura take command. I go like, oh, here's a person of color just taking control in a way that I was going, oh my God, this is so subversive, for 73.
Oh yeah, 1973.
And you're showing kids this, this is, that's the real, I wouldn't expect, it took a long time before Cisco came on the scene. But to have a black woman go I'm going to save the day, I was like, oh wow, this is really doing it.
I just kind of wish that Chapel wouldn't have been like, "What are you doing?" and would have been like, "All right, I'm with you. Let's go."
Sure.
That was
allyship wasn't a thing yet.
No.
Intersectionality is not quite there. But they did have her come around when she was just like, oh yeah, you're now the chief medical officer. She's like, okay, I'm in. I did love when they had my favorite, the slow progression is so funny to me. In this episode where they get the signal and all of the men are like, this is great music. And Uhura is being like, I don't know what you're talking about. This just sounds like noise. And then they're all having their different fantasies, which is such an interesting power that these women have, that they're able to essentially be like, oh, Spock is hearing a mating drum. And then you have Scotty doing poetry ramblings. And then, classic Kurt is just seeing hot babe visions. And it was just a very funny, I thought, character insight to each of these male archetypes that they've set up. And then once they get down onto the planet, how quickly they succumb,
and what's up with they get down to the planet and they're like James T. Kirk and Mr. Scott and Mr. McCoy, and the red shirt guy doesn't even get his name called. You don't even acknowledge that he's there.
Mr. Red Shirt.
He was real chatty there before that, and you're just gonna ignore him. It was okay, all right.
That's part of the club. Probably part of the quad.
Oh, Chupi brought up one of my favorite things is when they just have the long scene of the Enterprise scrolling, and then it's just Scotty singing, and I'm like.
I thought that was great. I go oh, we don't have enough time for this. We can't afford another commercial. Or maybe we whatever. So we're just gonna have Scotty singing. I love it.
Yeah, or maybe they were just oh, we're this many seconds short, on the cut to make commercial breaks or whatever. They're like, oh, we'll just add this in. This will work.
They're just kids.
Yes,
it's so funny. But yeah, to your point, Paul, I just I love how quickly I heard it's I gotta take command. I know exactly what's going on. even then, you have Chapel like communicating with Spock, and they just like go down on this planet, and they're just like, WTF, mates, like, and while they did have to do some phasering, I think, to show their dominance, like eventually they went to a fairly diplomatic route to get things worked out,
Yeah, but that was pretty awesome. Is you've got the I guess we call them space babes are like, leave now, and it was just like ping.
Yeah, phasers to stun, ping, 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 like.
I'm sorry, were you still talking?
Yeah, like, we're gonna rescue our crew and then we'll help you out. I thought it was interesting, essentially they're like, oh, somehow, like, we survive here and like we have to drain life force in order to continue to exist. We can't have
male energy, baby.
They can't have relationships. And I thought the like morality lesson to me was the idea that immortality is not actually the blessing that you think it is.
Yes. Yes.
True statement.
I mean, that is the morality lesson in every episode of every rendition of Highlander that has ever lived, right? Is that ultimately, if you live forever, then you have to watch all of your loved ones die, unless you fall in love with another immortal.
I don't know, man. Never seen Highlander. We can talk about it, but like, but someone gives me like, the option to live forever and stay young, because consciously turning to dust as you get older, that would suck.
You don't want to Nosferatu up in here.
Yeah, like, but if you can stay young and live forever, like, I'm sorry about my carbon footprint, but I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that lotto ticket.
So you wouldn't just get tired?
I might.
I mean, if someone gave me the option to live forever, I would need it to have an infinite bank account. I don't want to work that long.
My thinking is like, given enough time, you'd figure it out. You'd figure out how to make musk it out.
Duncan MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod lived very well for many, many centuries. And all he had to do was occasionally chop somebody's head off. So is that what you're saying, Paul? If it comes down to it, if there can only be one, you are chopping my head off. Is that what I'm hearing?
Like, I wouldn't phrase it that way.
But yes.
Period.
Oh, yeah. Pelia also, good point from Strange New World. Everyone loses people. That's the pain of living. The worst thing of immortality is boredom.
Yeah, no, I'd like to know.
You gotta watch some Highlander.
I feel like I've seen some of it because it's one of those movies that was like always on TV. You know what I mean?
The series is pretty good too. Like, I enjoyed the TV series. It's kind of like Lorenzo Lamas meets Scottish Highlands. It's kind of.
I mean, yeah. Well, who knows?
Wow, I watched a lot of like TV in the 80s.
That's not Lorenzo Lamas, is it?
No, I'm saying Lorenzo Lamas was in Renegade. So it was kind of like there was a series of them. So it was like if you took Renegade and then put it in Scotland,
it's a style of TV show.
Yes. You've got this charismatic, good-looking hero who, is kind of a nomad, and everything ultimately works out for him. Yeah.
All you gotta do is just live forever, and then like things work out. You see?
Yeah. Totally done. To give some history on Margaret Armen, who wrote the Lorelei Signal. She is responsible for 3 episodes from the original Star Trek series, The Gamesters of Triskelion, The Paradise Syndrome, and the Cloud Minders. She also wrote 2 episodes of the animated series, Lorelei Signal and Ambergris Element. And then she also co-wrote with Alfred Harris, The Savage Syndrome. And then she also wrote an episode of the original Star Trek Phase 2, which was supposed to be the reboot of the show that eventually got nixed and got consolidated. The first 2, it was supposed to be a 2-hour-long pilot to kick off the series. And that got retooled into becoming Star Trek: The Motion Picture. But there's just a bunch of unaired Star Trek Phase 2 episodes somewhere in a binder somewhere.
I have a binder full of women.
Huh?
Binder full women's.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually liked this episode. I really did.
I love how you qualified it.
I'm just saying.
It hasn't been a strong start,
For me. And also, I find that the question that I keep asking myself is it because of the time, right? We are talking about 73?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot has changed. Yeah. So I'm trying to keep that in, but like this was the first episode that I was like, oh, to your point, Mariah, I did not multitask during this episode, and I wanted to desperately, but I was actually interested in kind of what happens, and it was I thought it was pretty interesting. So,
like, I'm watching this like Mystery Science Theater 3000, guys. Like, I was
thinking about that. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if we should do maybe we can do this as because we can't stream it on YouTube, unfortunately, because of copyright. But I think Patreon's supposed to be rolling out a way for you to do watch parties.
Sure.
So that we could do a live watch along potentially of some of these episodes, because I feel like that might be more fun.
Because, I'm watching. I'm having a good time, just like going. I'm talking to myself. I'm going. This is so stupid good. I mean, and I'm not high. I'm not drunk. It's like in the middle of the day, and I come out smiling and going, "Man, we've come a long way, getting from here to there."
maybe that's what I want to do next week. Is maybe I want to find a time, grab a couple beers, and do a watch along with in our Patreon Slack channel of kind of the next episode or the next 2 episodes. Maybe that'll make it more fun.
Yeah,
if I do it with our Patreon crew and just
because watching it with Jordan, like whenever they say something kind of funny in a funny way, we just like repeat. When we're like censors, like
it's
hear me.
What it feels like is like there were just a bunch of words that they had like the actors say, and then they just put it together, like everything has so little inflection in it that I'm going like you have to like lithium these people to get to say it as flat as this is.
Yeah, I'm like, it's interesting the delivery, and I think it's because I haven't watched very many other cartoons from this early, that I'm just not sure if that was like how it was directed to make it really clean to cut the tape,
That makes sense. That makes sense actually.
Versus like, but it's I don't know.
Like I'm gonna watch Super Friends.
Yeah, I'm like, I digitally cut quote unquote tape all day, and you can definitely find pauses in speech. And I, at one point did know how to physically cut like tape and stitch it together. That's what Scotch tape was originally made for. Did you know that?
I did not. And the more you know.
I don't think I know.
The more you know.
Everyone's learning so much this episode.
It is. It's super educational.
Very educational. But yeah, the Lorelei Signal still like, even this is probably the 4th, 5th, 6th. Like I've watched this episode a lot, and I still like really enjoy it. I love how the crazy facial expressions on like the head female of this colony. Her eyebrows go all wonky when she gets mad, and I think it's really funny. I also think it would be a fun cosplay costume. All of the space babes. I also love the way they all fell and they still looked hot. Like no one looks to be suffering.
Oh, what we should do is like we could do this like I can dress as a space babe and someone can taser me and see how I fall.
Me.
I have a white wig I can send to you.
Oh, love it. I have actually been wondering what it felt like to be tasered. Have either of you been tasered?
I need B's permission to taser you in writing before this starts, though. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so that if your heart stops, it's not on Clyde.
That's what I'm saying.
More likely, you'll just piss yourself. That happens a lot when you get tased.
Don't tase me, bro.
Is that different than any other day?
Chiefy brings up hey, TNG stole the transporter used for de-aging. I do love that it's always just the pattern buffer. Excuse me. The pattern buffer is the answer to all.
If we decide to ever change the name of our podcast, I think we should call it the pattern buffer.
That's a good one.
Ooh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or it would be great for a Star Trek themed like band.
Oh, the pattern buffers.
The pattern buffers.
Yeah, it's a good one. If we ever all go to trivia, that should be our trivia team name.
Pattern buffer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pattern buffer. Yes, I like that.
Heisenberg compensators.
Please welcome to the stage, Heisenberg compensator.
Well, I think it's, I did think about like, if you could do that, if you could de-age that, like, why wouldn't you do that?
Well, I mean, there was a 99.7 chance that it wouldn't work. So I think because of that, they were like, this is a one-time deal.
I mean, don't you want to try it a few more times though?
Like as a Stargate person, Clyde, in the Stargate Atlantis that you are, there's that time when Rodney gets zapped by the ancient device that makes him superpowered, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like and then all he has to do is like go non-corporeal and and he'll be fine, or they do some version of the the transporter buffer.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like why doesn't Rodney just keep on doing that?
It's a good point. It's that brings up the thought that I did have when I was watching both of these episodes is I love Trek, but it does seem like we're kind of reusing the same ideas over and over again. I was like, oh, hey, look, all the men got under the spell of women. That's not exactly new, but it did make me think, and I wanted to see if I could find it. Has there ever been a situation where all the women fell under a spell?
It's called patriarchy.
Why is it always in every series? It feels like the men just like
it's only ever happened when you encounter this scene.
The deep V.
The deep V, baby.
It's too much. It's too much. Deep V is too much.
Do you think that when Jonathan Frakes signed up to be in Star Trek, that he would be known as like the sexiest Star Trek character of all time? Do you think he knew that was coming?
I don't think that's a true statement.
You don't think so?
No. I can name, like, I think Jerry Ryan is up in this.
I mean, yes, Jerry Ryan and Jolene Blaylock, absolutely.
Yeah, there are a lot of people in the discussion. Like,
but
it's a hot cast pretty routinely.
but he's got a certain thing where it's like.
Yeah, it's very like the 007 Sean Connery, like kind of vibes to him.
No, I get it. Like
there's no reluctance for him.
Once he got the beard. Pre-beard, I think he's just like, kind of not that sexy. With beard, I think he's pretty good.
So
Pre-beard, not so much.
A couple comments in the chat, but I think Kern is right. They played with Troy for a while in her catsuit outfits before they decided to stop, which was great. Mm-hmm. Meaning great that they decided to stop. And then Chupi mentions because men writers reflect the area of men. It is interesting. Like I wonder what an all woman writing room for Star Trek might produce.
I think I'll be very interested in what comes out of Academy because of this, because we have another woman showrunner. I know it is like a pretty, I'd say, gender diverse writer's room, as most modern Trek has been. And so it'll be interesting to see how that really shakes out, since it is, I think, going to be more of I could see a lot of romance plot lines in a show with younger people in it. You know, everyone's always got a crush on somebody and they're devastated when they don't have a crush on them back.
Did you just say that Academy is going to be Dawson's Creek in space? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, 100%.
Not bad. Maybe it's a different world.
I mean, a different world in space. Like, yes.
Seriously, because it's about college, right?
And it's a spinoff.
Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing. I'm just saying like this. I think that works.
That's a great tagline, though. Like that's a pretty
a different world, but space.
But literally, the title is in it. A different world.
Yes,
it's already sci-fi.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting though because I was watching a few episodes of Dr. Odyssey. And no matter what he does, I look at Jonathan Jackson and just see Pacey from Dawson's Creek.
It's Joshua Jackson.
Jonathan Jackson's a different person. Yes. Joshua Jackson. I see Pacey. I'm like, I know you're like.
It's so funny because I go straight to Mighty Ducks and then.
Oh, yes.
I go to Fringe.
Oh, Fringe was good too for a while.
Fringe was good, but I don't go there.
And then what was that movie he was in? The Skulls. Do you remember The Skulls?
That was terrible.
Do y'all want to know a fun fact?
Yes.
More you know. Woo!
More you know. So Joshua Jackson, his mom and my mom were friends when we lived in Vancouver.
Wow.
And there's pictures of him at my parents' wedding. And it was right before he booked Mighty Ducks. And so we were I think we lived in the same neighborhood. So yeah, as a tiny bebe, I hung out with Joshua Jackson.
Wow, you are that's a weird flex, Mariah, but whatever.
It's a pretty good one though, actually, if I'm being honest. It's
great.
Flex. You're like, I knew Joshua Jackson before he blew up.
Literally. But yeah, sometimes my mom and his mom will still email.
Yeah, Mighty Ducks is nice. Pretty underrated. That's a pretty underrated.
Quack, quack, quack. Quack. It's a great cast. It's so many Kenan Thompson's in there. Yep. So many.
Margaret Moreau, who later did a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of people in there. Yeah,
it's a great cast.
That's probably Emilio Estevez's best work.
I would agree.
Young Guns? How about Young Guns?
Not better than Mighty Ducks. That's probably second. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I like Young Guns.
In a blaze of glory.
Yes,
but he coaches those kids to beat the communists.
Yes. The only thing Mighty Ducks is missing for this to be perfect is for it to happen on a spaceship. That's all that's missing.
We can fix that.
Hockey in space.
I can say I've watched it again. I haven't seen it in a while. I don't. But it's okay.
Anything else to say about these 2 episodes of the animated series?
Let me look at my notes here.
I just want to say that, if you're thinking oh, maybe this isn't for me, you're probably right. You should watch it anyway, though, because
it's like our history books. We have to return to the ancient texts every once in a while,
and just to see where you came from as a trekker. If you're a trekker or trekkie, whatever you want to call yourself nowadays, I think I haven't watched it in 40 years, and I'm having a great time.
It's a good time.
It's bad.
Go ahead.
It's bad, but but if you just go in knowing that it's bad and just watch it for the history,
have a giggle.
I love it.
My final thought is, if you are an Uhura fan, then you have to see this episode. I think that it just from her character arc, this feels like something I don't know that she ever really got on the
original series.
Yeah.
And the fact that what we're not talking about is someone voicing or hear Uhura that's not Nichelle Nichols is even better. We're talking about for Nichelle Nichols. So if you're a Nichelle Nichols fan or you are an Uhura fan, I feel like this is must see TV. TV.
And Majel and Nichelle voiced all of the female characters in this episode.
Yeah, I'm not a real big fan of that. It was kind of confusing at one point. It was Michelle Berry's the voice of everything. Like, can you give somebody else some work? Just throw them some dollars. Like,
Nope, they were out of budget.
yes.
Before we go, we do have a new review. Did you all know you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts? You can also rate and leave comments on Spotify if you'd like to engage with us over there. We can check that out. This is from Wesley J. The title is Excellent, Not Just About Disco. I enjoy hearing the different perspectives from the hosts. They are interesting, witty, funny, and do not talk down to the audience. Paul is a riot. Well,
I am. Thank you so much.
Can you go, Paul?
Thank you.
Thank you, Wesley J. So subscribe, rate, and review Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, StarTrekPod.co. Visit us there. Get links to the Patreon. You can hang out with us over on Blue Sky. Thank you, Karen, for helping us run that Blue Sky account. We appreciate you so much. We will be back next week with 2 more episodes talking about the animated series. Clyde, did you have something else?
Sign up for Patreon this week and you can watch the animated series episodes 5 and 6 with me. We'll do it. Yeah.
Love
indeed.
it. Love it.
Let's do it. All right. We will see you all next time. Live long and prosper. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Later.